and I'm very pleased to hand you over to our host, Careers Hub Lead, Jill Walsh.
Hello everybody and welcome to National Apprenticeship Week. So yeah, we're on day 4 of our programme. So glad that you can all join us again today. And I'm really pleased that we've got 2 of our cornerstone employers who support the Careers Hub. We've got Keepmoat Homes and United Utilities who are going to talk us through and chat about what their organisations do, how they work, and then also you're going to get a chance this morning to actually meet some of their apprentices as well. So without further ado, I'm going to hand straight over to John from Keepmoat. Good morning, John, and thanks that you could join us today.
Thanks, Jill. Let me just get up my notes. So hi everyone, I'm John and I'm a corporate sustainability advisor at Keepmoat, and we're a housing company with our head office in Doncaster. So my role is to look at the broad picture of sustainability across the business and report on how we're doing. Today though, I'll just give you a very quick introduction to Keepmoat and green jobs in the house building industry. So moving on. So what do all house builders do? So I'll just give you a quick introduction to house building. So at the most basic level, house builders buy land, design houses and places, build homes, and then we sell them. What I like about house building is that all of us have experience living in or visiting houses or flats in different places. So we can all have a valid opinion about what we like and what we don't. Using these experiences is really useful across the house building process. So whether you like playing sport, having friends round, or maybe you even need to use a wheelchair, they will all impact on how we experience living in a home and the place surrounding it. And you'd be surprised about the range of jobs there are in house building. So we've got jobs in buying land, planning places, designing houses, managing the contracts of the smaller companies we hire, buying materials, selling the homes, and yes, there's many different kinds of building jobs too. If we move on. So how Keepmoat builds houses. So we're a house builder of a slightly different model. We buy cheap land that has been built on before. So typically this might be the site of a closed down factory in an area which has seen job losses when that factory closed. And sometimes the land on these sites may have become polluted and needs to be cleared up. So Keepmoat specialises in ensuring we make the most of the house building process to provide work experience, training and jobs to the people in the areas where we build. So by building the homes, providing jobs and opportunities and improving the environment, we can create places which are both great to live in and affordable. Moving on. So Keepmoat has company values which are very important to the way we do business, and those values are we're straightforward, passionate, collaborative and creative. So it's always good to look in an interview to look up the company values and be able to give practical examples of how you meet them. For example, to demonstrate you were straightforward, you could give an example of a school project you worked on where something didn't work so well and you thought about ways to improve it next time, which you shared with team members. You can show honesty in an interview or job application by mentioning an area you were weak on. Don't overdo this though and use a but. So for example, you could say, I don't yet have experience in bricklaying, but I am really interested in building because I like the idea of taking materials and turning them into a home. Right, I wanted to share with you now another top interview tip. So people often say that when you go for a job interview or write an application letter, that you should find out lots about the company you're applying for and prove to the interviewer that you've done your research. So that's definitely true, but it's also quite difficult to know where to start on that and where to get the information you need. So you wouldn't really get very far in an interview by explaining that you know a house builder builds houses or a supermarket sells food. So what do you want to find out about the company? And my tip is I recommend reading about the company you're applying for, but also read about 3 or 4 very similar companies that you know do the same thing. And if they're big companies, the first few pages of their annual reports will show information and top statistics about what the company does. Then you can see if you can establish the difference between those companies. So you'll see what makes the company you're applying for unique. So for Keepmoat, we have a 70% brownfield land is what we build on, and a sales price of 165,000 a year. And those probably seem just like numbers to you at first glance, but you'd really impress an interviewer if you knew how those figures compared with other house builders. Moving on. I like that by working in house building, we're building places that will be the centre of people's lives for many decades. But with that comes a responsibility. These homes and places need to be designed for the greener lifestyles we all need to lead, and also for a climate that's already starting to change and will continue to do so. So it's an exciting time to be in house building because we're beginning a really big change, and the industry needs new ideas to help us achieve that. So construction has an aging workforce, and there's some amazing skills there to share, but we also need people willing to learn to do things in a different way. So that might be where you come in. So just to give an example of the kind of changes that we're seeing, from 2023, which is not that far off now, housing developments need to be actually better for wildlife and nature than the land they were built on. And in some places, actually, that's happening earlier than 2023. From 2025, houses will need to produce 80% less carbon emissions, and there'll be all kinds of different technologies used in order to achieve that. And at the same time, millions of older existing homes all across the country, and I mean millions, there'll be a lot of work needed to make them warmer and more energy efficient. And high bills probably are here to stay, so it's becoming increasingly important, and you'll be probably hearing a lot about it in the news. So that kind of work isn't done by house building companies because we build new houses, but it does mean that house building skills will be in extremely high demand, probably quite highly paid as well. And where better to learn those skills than at a house building company? And the opportunities are big. So we reckon that 350,000 extra construction jobs will be needed over the next 10 years to achieve net zero carbon by 2050. So that's across the whole construction industry. As a result of all this change, I think there'll be some new jobs in house building that we haven't really seen before, such as heat pump installers, and ecologists as well, that are experts in plants, wildlife and nature. So currently they work for sort of specialist consultancies, but it might be that you start, for example, seeing them working directly for house builders in like a greater number. So if you want to do something in your career, like work specifically with wildlife, brand new heating technology, or in specific sustainability roles that tackle climate change or poverty, and you were worried that there weren't enough jobs in those areas or that they would pay badly, don't worry about that, because there's great opportunities right now and they're just going to continue to grow. But the key point I want to make is that there will be even greater opportunities across every currently existing house building job type for people that can show they know and care about people and planet. So just a few examples, and this is not exhaustive. Our buying teams need people that know about buying sustainable materials from sustainable suppliers. Our finance teams need people that understand that climate change and carbon reduction will impact costs and profit and risks to the business. Our human resources department, which is in charge of hiring people and developing skills, they need people themselves that understand how we can prepare our employees for the big changes that are happening and avoid shortages in workers with the green skills that the business now needs. And that applies to the buying of land too. So my point is really that a bit of interest and knowledge about the environment and sustainability will take you a long way in any house building job, whether that's on the site or at the office. So now we're going to talk to Rosie about how the greening of house building jobs has affected her role. So Rosie, if you'd like to introduce yourself, what's your name and what's your role at Keepmoat Homes?
So morning everyone, I'm Rosie Mead and I am a Land and Partnerships graduate trainee and I work at Keepmoat Homes Northwest office. So I'm based in the Liverpool region, so down in Speak.
And what did you do when you left school?
Yeah, so when I left school, I did my A-levels in design, maths and history and my school's sixth form. And then I went on to apply to study architecture at university. And I started that. After a few weeks, I realised it wasn't really for me. So I left and reapplied for the following year for a different subject. So I then went on to study planning and enjoyed it so much that I did an extra year. So I graduated with a master's degree in June 2021.
And why did you choose a job to get into land?
So I chose a job in land because during my degree, I loved learning about what makes a good city or town or place and what are the best ways to transform them, whilst also doing this as sustainably as possible. And I think that land buying is key to all of this because it's the starting point of the entire development process. And without it, towns and cities just wouldn't be able to grow, to accommodate more people and more industries and jobs, etc.
Is there a reason why you chose a graduate scheme rather than an apprenticeship?
Yeah, so I really like the idea of going into either an apprenticeship or a graduate scheme after university because I thought it might be a bit of an easier transition into full-time work because I'd been in education for so long. And I chose a graduate programme because there just weren't many suitable apprenticeships in the place that I was looking at the time that I was looking. And because I had a degree, it meant that the option to apply for a grad scheme was open to me as well. But I think it's all worked out for the best. I really do love being part of the land graduate scheme. I feel like it gives me a bit more structure. I really like that I'm amongst a group of other graduates across the business and we all sort of keep in touch, help each other out and discuss sort of what we're up to. And if there's any issues, we all sort of just chat to one another. And every few months we get to meet up and we head down to our head office and we undertake sort of training and to learn about all areas of the business, so not just land. So we'll learn about sustainability, about finance, about legal, and about environmental issues. So it's really important, and it gives us like a whole just like surround sound vision of our industry, basically. But one of the best parts, in my opinion, of the graduate scheme is I get the opportunity to do a few months of work experience around all the departments in my office. So I'll spend time in land, obviously, that's where I'm based, but then I'll go through the technical team, the commercial team, the sales team, and the construction team. And it means I get to learn a wide variety of things across all different parts of the business. And it helps me to understand how development comes to life. But it also means I get the chance to work with loads and loads of different people, right from the architectural apprentices to trainee quantity surveyors, and then to sort of the head of construction who's out on site, which is really, really exciting. It means I get to meet a lot of people and it's great for building relationships.
Can you tell people a little bit about your role as a land and partnership graduate? And also, why did you choose to work for Keepmoat Homes?
Yeah, so basically as a land and partnership graduate, I work mostly in the office and I help the land team. And basically we'll find and bid on land and hopefully we'll sort of own it. And then we can build housing on it. So day to day, what this means is I will investigate pieces of land. I'll look into who owns them and whether I think they're a good place for housing to be built. I'll then try and visit the site if possible and walk over it with our engineers, architects and sales directors. And we'll talk about the opportunities and constraints of the site. So for example, an opportunity might be that it has really, really good views of a river that's running right by the site. Which to us is a huge bonus. People want to live there. We can probably charge more for the houses that have a view of that. An example of a constraint might be that it has lots of old trees that we just won't be able to remove and we'll have to just build around them. So then we'll sort of head all back to the office and we'll get our technical teams to think about how they're going to design a layout for this housing development, which will be profitable for the business, but also be nice places to live for our customers. And also whilst protecting the environment and all of that. And I chose to work with Keepmoat because I was really, really keen to work somewhere where their values aligned with mine. And after I did a bit of research, I felt that Keepmoat sort of stood out as having a really, really strong environmental and social purpose. So I had a look at some of the developments that they'd already built, and I saw that they'd prioritised affordable housing, green space, and that they did a lot of valuable work in the communities, which I just thought was really, really important to me, and it was somewhere where I wanted to work. I also saw that they were trying out lots of new methods of building, and were constantly trying to sort of improve and innovate their houses, which I just thought was really, really exciting.
Great. So how is the environment important to land buying?
So to me, the environment is absolutely key to land buying. And when we look at every single site, we always have to keep it in mind. Some of the sites that sort of get passed to us, they're just not going to be suitable for building housing on, because they're too environmentally important. And they contain things like protected trees or protected species, which we just can't touch. And for sites that we do choose to sort of take to a design stage and look at putting houses on, we have to carry out really, really extensive surveys and reports to see what's already there. What are the features of the site? Does it have ponds? Does it have woodlands? Does it have bats? Those kind of things. And then we have to make sure that our plans will protect and even improve upon the environment. So hopefully it's better for wildlife than before we took it on. And this is all really, really important to us as a business. And it has the added bonus of making our housing developments more attractive and nicer places to live for our customers who will eventually move in.
What does an environmentally friendly housing development look like?
Yeah, so to me, an environmentally friendly housing development is one which is more than just sort of green to the eye and green to look at. It's obviously really important to have lots of trees, shrubs, wildflower meadows and grasses, because they're really important for habitat creation. But we shouldn't just stop there. I think we also have to make sure that the houses themselves are environmentally friendly as possible to build, but also when the customers move in, they need to be environmentally friendly to use. So we're currently developing lots of new ways to design homes to reduce their environmental impact. We look at building more of our homes with wooden frames instead of brick, as it's a more sustainable material, and it's often quicker as well. And we try and incorporate better insulation, alternatives to gas boilers, solar panels on the roof, and increasingly we're putting electric vehicle charging points into our houses. And all of these changes will hopefully result in warmer houses and lower heating bills for our customers who are going to move in. But this is just my opinion and sort of based off of what we currently do at Keepmoat. But there's going to be limitless ways to create an environmentally friendly housing development. So if any of you have got any ideas, like, please do let us know, because we're always looking for ways to improve on what we've already done.
So looking a bit further ahead, what skills do you think future construction workers will need?
Yeah, so as me and you sort of keep saying, the development industry is going through really, really big changes at the minute, because we're trying to answer the question of how to be more environmentally friendly whilst building the houses that are really, really desperately needed across the country. And as you mentioned, John, we have a workforce who are getting older, so we really do need young people to come in who have new, creative and exciting ideas on how we can address these challenges in the construction industry. And we also, as a country, have laws and building regulations that are changing all the time to require that housing developments have less of an impact on the environment. And lots of councils are now saying, if you don't build to these higher environmental standards, we'll just refuse housing being built, which obviously we don't want to happen. So with these changes, we're going to need workers who are flexible, able to adapt to these changes, and people who can think outside the box a bit. And whilst at Keepmoat, we are looking at new ways to build and design our homes. There's so much more work to be done. We need to stay ahead of these building regulations and laws. And basically we just need more creative and innovative people joining the construction industry who can solve problems, who can question how things are done at the moment and say, well, how about we try it like this, and why don't we try that? We just need people as well who have a passion for the protection and improvement of the environment as well. I think that's really key.
Great. And what advice would you give to someone that wanted to work in the construction industry?
I would say just please absolutely go for it. Try things out. It's such an exciting industry, and there's so many types of job you can do, whether it's in the office, on site, all of these supporting roles that don't seem obvious at first. And as you said, John, new jobs are being created all the time, and it's just such an exciting time to join because there's so many changes. I think if you are looking to join the construction industry, it's probably important as well to have an understanding of the types of challenges that we're likely to face in the future, and know that sustainability and green technology must run through every single part of the development process from start to finish. So I think whether you're looking for a job in an office or based out on site, having a good understanding on how buildings impact the environment is absolutely key. And it's going to make you stand out completely amongst other people when you're going for a job.
Great, thanks. That's over to you, Jill.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you, Rosie. That's been really, really informative. And I've just got a couple of extra questions that we've had in as well. So, what does a typical day look like for you, and what sort of hours do you work?
Yeah, so there isn't really a typical day, I'm going to be honest. Every day is so different. Some days it's a bit more meeting heavy. We're sort of setting up what work we're going to do and what our targets are going to be for the week. Other days I'm completely out on site, looking at bits of land, walking over things, visiting architects, seeing what they sort of what ideas they've got. So yeah, really there's no typical day, but generally I sort of work 8:30 till 4:30ish, but again each day is really different, which I really enjoy. I think sometimes people think office work can be a bit samey, but honestly it's really exciting. You can come in the morning and then in the afternoon I'm off in Blackburn at a meeting someone who's got a piece of land that sounds like a really exciting opportunity. So yeah, I really enjoy the fact that it is a bit more exciting, and you don't always know what you're going in for when you arrive in the morning. Which
makes the week a bit more exciting, doesn't it? When you're not quite sure what you're going to be doing each day. So, and just tell us about obviously when you left university and you got your graduate job within Keepmoat. So, how was that for you? Sort of your first day, was you a little nervous, excited about starting there? So I know a lot of our students are really keen on understanding sort of that move from school, college, university into the first place of work.
Yeah, it definitely was a bit daunting. I had worked before, but I'd sort of worked in retail, so I'd never really been in an office environment. I'd never worked with people in an office, so I was nervous about that and whether I'd get on with the people and whether the work would be fine. But everyone was really accommodating on my first few days, and make sure I was settled in, make sure I had everything. But yeah, I think it's okay to be nervous. Absolutely, it's something new, and you're diving into something that you've never done before. But I think it's the nerves you're rewarded with how much sort of you get back from your role. And yeah, I think it's just about taking it in your stride, asking questions if you don't know what's going on, and people always want to help. They want you to be able to thrive in your role. So yeah, it's nothing to be scared of. It's an exciting challenge, definitely.
Yeah, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about engineering and women in engineering. And I know that some people would say that sometimes talking about construction can be very stereotypical with males. So how are you finding it being a woman in the construction industry and working within the housing sector, within home?
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that is still there sometimes. I think just with sort of older people in the office, sometimes I'll be the only woman in a meeting, but I think it's definitely changing. People are a lot more open to it. I've never had any issues. It's more just sort of pushing the boundaries a bit and just being like, well, if you can all be in a meeting, why can't I? And just saying yes to opportunities, and also speaking to women in the office who are successful, seeing what they've done, how they've managed with it. But yeah, definitely, again, it's a challenge, but it's an exciting challenge because people might not expect you to have an idea of certain things, and then you're always surprising people with what you do know, and the fact that you're there and the fact that you're willing to learn. So yeah, it's definitely an opportunity, and it makes you stand out a bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, and obviously the construction industry is so big. There's so many jobs, so many different areas that you can go into, and it's great that you've obviously got a great diverse workforce as well. So that should really encourage all of our students around actually looking at the construction industry for a job for the future. Just one final question that we've had in as well is what sort of challenges would you say that you face in your day-to-day work?
I think definitely in my specific role in land, it is just communicating with people, working together with people, because when you're sort of trying to bring a site to life, we'll find the land and then we'll hand it over to the technical team who will design the scheme for it, and they'll hand it back to us, and then we have to say what we like and don't like, and then will, you know, hand it over to sales and say, well, what could you sell these houses for? And it just requires constant collaboration. And it's not a problem. It's more just takes a lot of time and effort. And the results are always really rewarding, but it's definitely, you have got to chase people, you've got to check in with people, you've got to give people enough time to be able to do the work that they need to do. But yeah, communication can sometimes be, it's not impossible, it's just challenging, and you just got to make sure there's enough time and that people know what is expected of them and when, setting realistic targets, making sure people have got the information they need to be able to give you what you need back. I think that's the same in a lot of roles. It's just having those communication skills and being honest and straightforward to people and just saying, oh, this is what I need and I need it by then. Are you able to do that? And it's just, yeah, can be a bit tricky, but not all the time.
And really what you're saying there then is teamwork, collaboration, communication skills. They are all skills that our students are now learning as they're in school and as they progress through school and college as well. So it's great for those types of skills to be a key focus areas when they're looking at applications for apprenticeships and opportunities in the future as well. So, you know, that's great. I just also want to let all of our students know as well that after half term, we've been doing a lot of work with Keepmoat homes, and there will be a number of online sessions that we've actually been filming with Keepmoat, which is going to sort of showcase a lot of other jobs and roles, whether it's actually out on the actual construction site or actually within the back office as well. So all the jobs that happen within the offices as well for Keepmoat. So please, students, look out for that on our website, and you can actually gather more information around all the other opportunities as well. So thank you for that. Thanks, John. A really informative session this morning around the future of green skills within the construction industry. And Rosie, thank you as well. That was really, really useful for our students. So I know you're going to stay with us for the rest of the morning. So what we'll do now is we'll bring back the presentation, and we are now going to talk to United Utilities. And we've got Maisie, who's actually going to start off this session for us this morning. So welcome, Maisie, and over to you.
Hello everybody, so my name is Maisie and my role at United Utilities is I am a development schemes administrator, which means that I get to look after everybody on our apprenticeship programme and making sure that first and foremost everybody's happy and well. And I wanted to come today to speak to you particularly about our organisation and our green skills apprenticeships that we have available. So you might have heard of us before and you might not have heard of us. So essentially, United Utilities, we are responsible for the water and the wastewater services across the northwest of England, which quite literally our footprint is from Carlisle, right near the Scottish border, and then down to South Cheshire to a town called Crewe. So we obviously wastewater. We are tackling a lot of the challenges in the climate and the environmental sector as well. And all our people, all our apprenticeships, everything that we do, it's essential to achieving our environmental targets of net zero carbon by 2030. As an organisation, we are ranked 7th, being the most inclusive UK company. We are also 4.5 out of 5 stars on Glassdoor, which is basically like TripAdvisor for employees. So our employees think that we're fantastic and we think that we're fantastic too. Well, what do we do? What do we serve? We are over 57,000 hectares of land, 72,000 kilometres of sewers. We have 7 million customers, and that's not just 7 million people, that's 7 million households. So if you think at home, there might be 1 or 2 of you in the house, there might be 5, 6, 7 of you in a house potentially. So we do 7 million customers. We have 96 water treatment works. We have 184 reservoirs, 575 wastewater treatment works, 1,400 kilometres of aqueducts, and 42,000 kilometres of water mains. And we have around, I think this figure's a little bit outdated, I think we're around 6,100 employees at the moment. So we're a massive, large FTSE 100 company. And I think you're going to get these slides sent out to you. So there's some really good videos there that if you're thinking about maybe joining us by the end of our session, then they'll definitely give you a bit more of an insight. So they'll be really, really helpful. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. So it's all well and good knowing what we do, but you might be thinking, what are our goals and our pledges? What do we actually want to do? What is our purpose? So our purpose is to provide great water and more water for the Northwest. And this purpose is what keeps us focused, and it's what matters most to those that we serve. You might wake up in the morning, brush your teeth and have a glass of water. You need water for your toothbrush and you need water for your glass of water. That is a silent service, and you don't think about, oh, who's supplying that, like you might do with your Cocoa Pops or your Weetabix. You think, oh, I'm going to have to go to Tesco's to buy those. The water, it just comes through the pipes. Granted, you pay for it, but it comes through the pipes and it's a silent service. So we are more than just water. We're all about supporting our communities to be stronger. And we're all about caring for customers through trusted relationships. We're about creating a great place to work for our employees. And we're also about protecting and enhancing our environment, which is really, really important for us at the moment. It always has been important for us and it always will be important for us. But particularly at the moment, everything that's going on, and Erin will come on to it a bit later to speak about some of the fantastic new initiatives that we're bringing in. But it's always, and it always will be, super important to us about ensuring that that land that we own and that the people who we employ are acting responsibly, and we're acting responsibly for it. We're about delivering a sustainable return to investors, and we're also about innovating in partnership with our suppliers. And I just wanted to draw your attention to our core values, if possible. If you're thinking about maybe applying for an apprenticeship with us, then these are some really key things to note. So our core values, this is what we do day in, day out. It's what all our employees act on. It's about having a customer focus. Customers are at the heart of everything that we do, whether that be customer in the literal sense, a bill payer, or whether it's a customer to somebody that you're serving internally. Really keep that one in your back pocket. We're all about innovation. So we continually look for new ways to make our services safer, faster, but also at a lower cost to our bill payers. And we also want to work in a integral way and being trustworthy. So we like to make the promises and knowingly keep them. So if we're going to say that we're going to do something, we make sure that we do it and we do act integrally and trustworthy. That's to everybody, to our bill payers and also to our internal stakeholders as well. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Erin and I have recently completed an apprenticeship at UU, and I wanted to share some of the amazing benefits we have to offer. As an apprentice at United Utilities, you'll have the opportunity to fulfill your potential starting work in a FTSE 100 company. After successfully applying for the role of your choice, you will start into professional training relating to your role, learning new skills and exploring exciting areas of the business. You'll be able to attend some amazing events such as awards evenings, volunteering days out of bound, which is a week at the beginning of your apprenticeship at the lakes. With all the other apprentices starting that year, you get to get involved with team building activities such as building rafts, hiking up mountains, walking up waterfalls, and much more. You can get involved in teams in National Apprenticeship Week to win a competition. Starting salaries start from £12,500 and that goes up £5,000 each year that you're on scheme. You also receive an annual bonus. You'll start with 26 days of annual leave, and after 4 years of being with us, you'll receive 30 days off plus bank holidays, and you'll be able to buy or sell more. If you're wanting to learn to drive, we'll pay up to 10 driving lessons to help you get on the road. And you can also opt into our new electric car scheme. You can join our private healthcare scheme to help cover medical and dentist costs. We have an award-winning pension scheme. We have an on-site gym, which is only £10 per month. We have a Costa Coffee, spa, table tennis, and lovely lakes to walk around on your breaks, and many more amazing facilities at our head office. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Cheers, Erin. Thank you for that. The last real important slide of messages that I'd like to bring your attention to is our green apprenticeships here at United Utilities. So we offer a lot of apprenticeships. I can't remember, unfortunately, off the top of my head, how many actual roles we're offering, but we've got 66 vacancies this year for September 2022 start. But as an apprentice, you'll be playing a key role in supporting the local environment and also protecting our green resources. Water is more than just what comes out of the taps. It's the Northwest's most precious resource, and it's what makes our region greener, healthier and stronger, boosting our communities and ecosystems and enhancing our breathtaking catchment areas. We want to do our part to ensure that the Northwest is better today, tomorrow and in the future. And I know particularly a lot of young people, even though our apprenticeships aren't just capped at young people, you have to be at least 16 at the point of your first day, and then there's no upper age limit. But we're aware that a lot of particularly young people are very environmentally aware, and they're wanting to make those changes to make not only the Northwest but their own lives better today, tomorrow and in the future. And just some of statements there for you. We are the first UK water company to be given a gold stamp of approval for carbon targets. Already 30%, which is just nearly a third of our electricity, is generated via our own solar farms, wind turbines and biomethane. And if any of you have ever been to the Trafford Centre, you might have gone over the Barton Bridge, which is where our biggest wastewater treatment works, Davy Hume is. That is funded, it's made, ran, generated, all by renewable sources. We've made a commitment to plant 1 million trees and create 550 hectares of woodland. And we've made a commitment that all our vehicles that are driven on behalf of United Utilities will be electric or alternative fuel by 2028. And like Erin just said then, all our employees will be given a chance to opt in to our salary sacrifice electric car scheme, which means there's a added tax benefit on there for you if any of you are aware of anything of like that. And it's fantastic because you get to get a car, all the maintenance is included, you don't have to pay anything on terms of maintenance, just a car and the insurance, which is absolutely fantastic. And plus it's electricity, it's an electric car, it's an EV, so it means that you are definitely helping personally but also on behalf of the company to ensure that you are not only better today but also tomorrow and in the future. Some of our green apprenticeships that we have on offer, you can see on the right hand side of the screen there, if I'm getting that the right way around. We have our water and wastewater process controllers, our tanker drivers, our data analysts, our fleet technicians, our FSEs, our field service engineers, and also our production engineers. And in particular, our apprentice scientists, which I think I'm lucky enough to have Chloe on the call today, who is an apprentice scientist with us at United Utilities. Are you there, Chloe?
Hello.
Hi, Chloe. Would you mind, obviously, but just before we jump into our roles available, would you mind just speaking to the people on the call today about your apprenticeship and what it's like being an apprentice scientist here at United Utilities?
So basically, I started my apprenticeship in 2019, so I'm a third year apprentice now within the labs, and I just saw it as an option. Basically, I didn't want to go to university as I wanted to apply my scientific knowledge that I'd gained from A levels, and I found that this has been the perfect thing for me. I've been able to use my knowledge to get hands-on within the labs. United Utilities as a company is one that I find is great to work for. It's so relaxed and easygoing, and I found there's been so many opportunities for me to grow, such as the Outward Bounds. That was a great way of being able to get to know my fellow colleagues and other people around the company, which, being in the labs, we don't often see many other areas of the company. So that was a really good way of getting to know them. There's just many other opportunities we get, like the Apprentice Awards, which I think is a really good way of appreciating the things that we do as apprentices, because there's a lot of effort that we do go through, being able to look at all the individual parts of the company and how only starting up we can still make such an impact. Within the labs, I get to go around all of the different teams that we've got, which could be wastewater, clean water, and I learn a lot about the things that we do and how important it is within the labs that we are putting out water to our customers. It's not a customer facing role. However, it is really important that we understand how the impact of what we do is going to directly affect our customers. If there's anything wrong with the water, we're testing that quickly. And I find it I'm quite proud that I'm going to be putting out water that I trust, and it's the best quality to customers. So it's quite a rewarding job. And it's just great that I can be learning and earning at the same time as I'm on. I did a BTEC, and now I'm going on to do a HNC at St Helens College. So that's a great opportunity that I can be learning chemistry, furthering my knowledge of chemistry, whilst also being able to apply it in the labs. It's also just a really enjoyable environment. The whole site and employees, I think, are really great people and genuinely love being here, as do I myself. And I can't wait to continue once I finish my apprenticeship within the labs, and to fully be within the team and progress my role further.
Thank you, Chloe. I won't go through this too much because you'll be getting the slides over to you, so you'll be able to see everything in here. But what we have done is we've taken a few snippets of our prospectus, which you can find online, of some of the roles that are available. In particular, the roles on these slides currently are those that are what we're deeming more of our green skills, so those that have real key impacts on our environmental pledges. If you can just flip through, please. Thank you very much. So our data analyst, Rose, has done a really good case study for us, and we've picked out a really key point there for you. We asked her, how did you find the recruitment process? And Rose replied that, being dyslexic, she thought the process would have been really difficult and that she might have had issues. But actually it turned out to be the opposite. She found it really easy to apply and progress through the stages, which I think is really fantastic to hear, that the process might not be as hard as some people initially imagine. Next slide, please. I feel like Boris Johnson. George has done a fantastic case study for us as well. He's a mechanical FSC in wastewater, and he has said, do your research on the company and your chosen discipline. So knowing background information on the job that you're applying for will always impress the interviewer. And that's really important to remember, that the interviewer isn't there to trip you up. They're there to understand how keen you are for the role, and to understand how you would really flourish in the role as well. Next slide, please. Our fleet technicians are also part of our green fleet. We don't want to be having basically trucks, lorries, vans on the roads that are pumping out all kinds of awful gases because they're not functioning properly. We want them to be working as clean, as efficiently as possible. So yeah, our fleet technicians are also included in our green skills apprenticeships. Next slide, please. Thank you. Our lab scientists, so similar to Chloe, Evan's given a fantastic case study, and he said that his favourite thing about the role that he's doing now is that everything he's learning day to day is applied directly. Something that always frustrated him so much during school is that he'd learn things and he wouldn't actually know how to use them. But in his current role, he can make use of everything that he's learning right away, which I think might resonate with a couple of you there on the call. Next slide, please. And our water and wastewater process controllers. So Shabazz has said that he enjoys the process controller role as no 2 days are the same. And he also says that his colleagues have made him feel really welcome. He feels part of a team which is supportive and they're willing to help him out whenever and wherever he needs it. And no question or job is too big of an ask for them, which is super, super appreciative of. Next slide, please. Our apprentice production engineers. So this is a relatively new apprenticeship. It's not a new role to United Utilities, but it's a new apprenticeship standard that we're offering. So this will be a fantastic opportunity to definitely make your stamp as a production engineer apprentice, and really carve out the path of others in return of you. So it'll be a fantastic opportunity to help there with our green skills apprenticeships. Next slide, please. Our apprentice tanker drivers. So last year was the first year that we ran this program, and our tanker drivers are really integral in that, using our waste to enable us to then renew that and make it as a renewable energy source. They're really key and integral in that process in transporting our treated or our untreated liquid sludge to maybe different agricultural farms, to different sites, and to different providers. So it's actually really interesting and a fantastic role that I want to get out, and I want to do a day or two in the trucks with them so I can get that experience. I think it'll be absolutely fantastic. I think I'm going to be really jealous of any of the apprentices that start as a tanker driver. Next slide, please. And now also our data scientists. So this is all about using figures, interpreting data, manipulating data so that it can be a used data set. And then I basically identifying where we could have potential issues, potential flaws, to ensure that we're more efficient and thus more essentially taking care of our environment more. The more efficient we are, the more that we can do that. Next slide, please. Similarly, our data analysts, a very similar role, collecting and migrating data from a range of different internal and external systems, and how you interpret that data, so then we can use that going forward as a business, to ensure that we're obviously doing the right thing by our people, by our customers, and also by our environment too. Thank you. So you might be wondering, I really like the sound of things. I might want to look into some of those roles a bit more. I might want to look into some of the other roles that you have on offer. How do I go around that? So you head to our website. A really easy thing to search in Google is UU Corporates. Click on the first link that comes up, go onto our careers and our apprenticeships. Once you're in the apprenticeship section, it's really easy to navigate with our prospectus there to download, and it's all available on your mobile phone as well. You don't have to use a computer or a laptop. The application process is really easy and simple. You submit your application with your CV and a covering letter. There's loads of templates online if you don't already have a CV, and I'm sure those within your schools and in your colleges, and also anybody you might have at home, might be able to help you there. You then have some situational judgments tests, which sound really scary, but they're not actually that scary. They're okay when you're into them. We'll then have a video interview. Because of COVID's limiting things at the moment, unfortunately, interviews and assessments will be virtually up till now. So in our prospectus as well, there's some really good hints and tips on how to really thrive and excel in those interviews, because I know they might be a little bit scary. And then you'll also go onto our online aptitude tests as well. Our key advice would be to research what type of test you're going to have, because you'll get an email to tell you what type of test it'll be. If you go online, do some practice ones, you'll definitely know what you're going to be experiencing when you go into that. And then the last stage of the application process will be the virtual assessment centre. And again, if you go on our prospectus, there'll be some really key hints and tips on how to thrive and excel in those. I think that's about all from me, Jill. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Thanks, Maisie. That was really informative today, and lots of different things that have been answered, I think, really from the apprentices as well. So thank you to Erin and Chloe for coming along as well and sharing their experiences this morning. I think some of the key messages that came out was around United Utilities, that they feel part of a team, that they're really well supported. It actually sounds that the apprenticeship opportunities are, it's a great package as well for any students that are thinking about wanting to apply. So I suppose my final question to you would be, what sort of one piece of advice that you'd give to any of our students that are thinking about applying, over the coming months?
My key piece of advice, and it always will be, is don't worry if you've not got any previous work experience. Now, I'm going to take this a notch down, Jill, if you don't mind, in terms of my formality. If you've never had a job, we're not expecting you to have months and months, years and years of management experience. You're an apprentice, particularly those on this call, you're probably 16 to 18. You might not necessarily have had a job before. You might have worked in a cafe, you might have worked in a supermarket, you might have had a bar job, or you've got no experience whatsoever. Don't let that hold you back from thinking that you can't apply for an apprenticeship. That is my biggest bugbear. One thing I always like to say, and I hope that it'll resonate with a lot of you, is if you're playing footy at the weekend, if you're playing netball, tennis, badminton, a lot of questions that come up in interviews might be things like, tell me a time you've had to manage conflict with a stakeholder. On first glance, that seems like a really scary question, but all it's asking you is, when has there been a heightened situation with people you've worked with in the past, and how have you managed that? How have you dealt with it? How have you coped in that situation? If you've been playing footy, the ref might have been having a go saying, no, that was a foul, because I definitely know what football goes on. And your teammates are getting rowdy maybe, and you've taken a step in and said, no, lads, come on, let's calm down. Let's not be doing anything like that. Think of those times and those experiences and how you can then formalize that and adopt it into a basically a work-based process. So I've just said that really casually. I had an argy-bargy on the pitch and I told everyone to calm down. But you can definitely use that, and you can say, well, there was a time where some of my fellow teammates were involved in conflict, and I saw that this could have an escalating impact, and I took a step back, assessed the situation, decided that it wouldn't have been worth escalating. So I spoke with the team and I dealt with it in a manner from a really leadership perspective, and I settled the conflict to ensure that everything could go on and it can go on smoothly. So don't worry, we're not expecting you to be a manager leading a team of 15,000 people or anything like that. We just want to see what you've done in the past, whether that be in school, college, previous work experience. Again, like I said, your casual football teams, your netball, your badminton, and really apply that to the work environment. Don't let it put you off. That's my biggest bugbear. Do not let it put you off, because everybody's got something valuable to give. Everyone has.
And I think as well, a lot of our students forget about the level of support that they've been giving to family and friends during the last 2 years through COVID, and supporting, elderly relatives, supporting younger siblings at home to do their coursework. So all of those are great examples of the way that they've actually utilised team working skills, the way that they've supported each other, collaboration, and the biggest one for everybody is about communication. Just look at today, we are just communicating by what we're actually doing today. So exactly. Those are all great things that they can actually put in the application. So hopefully our students will remember that and think about it as they are doing their application. So thank you. Think for
about
that.
Me sat on this call going, did you ever play footy?
No, it is. It's a great shout out to everybody. So thank you for that. I just want to really finish off today by thanking both the Keepmoat team and the United Utilities team for coming on today to share the information around the organisations, but more really around the apprentices talking to you to actually share their experience about thinking about looking for apprenticeship opportunities within our National Apprenticeship Week. So thank you everybody for joining, and hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.